I uh, I welcome you all for this series. As I already told that CTF is the one group we have started in HSR layout. We care for people and we want to make an awareness in the minds of a citizen. Only due to because of this COVID situation, a lot of people are under confusion. And we want to have a different series. We did about kids, we did about many other subjects also. Our captain, Dr. Prashant Reddy, was very kind enough to get a good experienced doctor and make awareness more in the community also. Before going to the particular subject today, that is about diabetes. Diabetes has become a very common word in each and everybody's house. ಇವತ್ತು ನಾನು ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ಡಯಾಬಿಟೀಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲದ ಮನೆ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಏನು ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನೇ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರವಾದ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. Every house there is a diabetes and everybody knows what is diabetes also. Looking into my age and experience in the particular segment, I've been studying about the diabetes right from penformin and glycemide and so on and so forth. Lot of new molecules came in the market. Insulin was there in the market. And people say that diabetes can be identified with incidental or accidental. People say that. People never go and get it tested. Am I diabetic? A lot of people will not do that, as actually required for once you cross 40 years, people should get tested whether you are diabetic or not. There's one. Number two, looking into the generations, why this diabetes has rampant so much, there is a question mark coming in many people. And Dr. Srinath sir is there to clarify a lot of our points which lingering in the mind of each and everybody. Many people have come with a different diabetes, or people may inform others about whatever the discussions we are taking place during our discussions. This is one of the most important subject. People are worried because of COVID. The main target, people say that with comorbidity, people with a diabetes may affect early about COVID because of they are having a diabetes or hypertension, whatever, so on and so forth. We want a clarification in the minds of public, what precautions have to be taken, what they have to do as a diabetic man. What you are going to give us a guideline. This is the sessions we are going to take up with Dr. Srinath sir. And Dr. Srinath sir, I want to identify a renowned endocrine diabetologist. He is working in the VGS hospital since 2016. He has done his graduation from Devaraj Aras Medical College, Kolar, and he did his post-graduation from Davangere Medical College, and he did further, he did MRCP from UK, from Royal College of Physicians, London, and he did as a consultant in the college hospital, as a consultant in King's College Hospital, London from 2014 to 2016. He has got a vast experience, and he has known as one of the best diabetologists in Bangalore. He is treating a lot of patients. He'll be of immense help to guide our participants and give a lot of suggestions regarding this thing. I welcome on behalf of CTF, Dr. Srinath sir. Namaskar. As a captain of our medical team, I welcome Dr. Prashant. Dr. Prashant is an ENT specialist. He did his graduation and post-graduation from Bangalore Medical College. His specialty is endoscopic sinus and skull-based surgery. And the specialty of our captain is, he is MBA from Indian Institute of Management. And that's why he is managing everybody, one of us to taking out in the different activities. He shows his interest, he shows his involvement, and we are very grateful to Dr. Prashant Reddy guiding us, taking this particular activity in advance. He is a consultant in VGS Hospital and Sagar Hospital. He is one of the most busiest doctor at present. He does a lot of operations every day regarding our black fungus. The most busiest man, even though I requested him, take 1.5 hours, guide us and make an awareness among the people. Thank you so much. And before I hand it over to Dr. Prashant Reddy, I request Sachindra Nargund from one of the pharmacy scientists to speak few words. Over to Sachindra Nargund or Shravan Nargund.
Very good afternoon, sir. So we are basically a pharmacy school in Bangalore, where we are having students attending this program who are studying their PharmD program, which is an intensive 6-year program, and educating them about COVID in diabetes. So basically, you have a large young audience and their parents who are worried about the next wave. So what I would like to convey to all my students and parents is kindly take this vast knowledge being given by our respected speakers today, which will be helpful in any complications you face in future, and kindly be safe, and thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Over to Dr. Prashant Reddy, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your humbling description of Dr. Srikanth and myself. Thank you for that. So, Dr. Srinath, so since you are the endocrinologist, you are the man for this particular topic of diabetes and COVID. So over to you. So maybe you can give all the audience an overall overview of what is diabetes, and then we can see how diabetes is actually affecting patients with COVID. Over to you, Dr. Srinath.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks, Dr. Prashant Reddy, for giving me opportunity for doing a little bit of educative talk to the audience. Normally, I do it for the doctors, but for when I'm doing it for the public, it's always a challenge. I'll do my best here. And Mr. Shravan Nargund, very kind introduction. And you've been a very senior man. You've been exposed to diabetes from Penformin world. That means I am very junior to you. Now I need to think about what I speak, because we are handling very seniors. It's much easier to handle the junior the juniors to me. I'm juniors in the sense anybody around 60, 70, I'm okay. About 70 who's very good, I need to be watched, because what we hear is Hale Rogi is better than Hosa Vaidya. So that is why it is
Very
diabetes. I was very rightly told. Everyone in their family has diabetes, but sadly, no one is handling it properly. Okay, so this is the problem. Everyone, the West are comparing India as the diabetes capital, but we are telling diabetes educative capital. We are trying to change the logo. So that is where we are here. And I see a vast sort of public who are very keen to learn what I'm going to say here. In the next probably half an hour, I will do my educative talk, and then I think I'll open the forum for questions, because when I give public talk, ಸುಮಾರು ಜನ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆಗಳು ಕೇಳಕ್ಕೆ ಇಷ್ಟಪಡ್ತಾರೆ. ನಾವು ಒಂದೇ ಸತಿ ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗೋದಕ್ಕಿಂತ, if anybody finds it very interesting, please do stop me, and I'm happy to go there, rather than, because we are having a 1-hour session. And I think, Dr. Reddy, if you don't mind, you know my time, it is probably an hour, and I can stretch for 5 minutes more. But I think we should make it more productive.
Definitely, sir.
So I think that is where is what my introduction is. So I think the host has disabled screen sharing, it says. Maybe somebody could kindly enable me, please.
Venkatesh sir, adu ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ screen sharing enable.
I've shared now. I have shared now, doctor.
Yeah, I got it. Thank you very much for that, Mr. Venkatesh. So great. So I think we know from Dr. Prashant Reddy's experience from surgical aspect. I think we will be very useful in the question and answer session. But my role will be more of medical. So what I like to start off with my slide is for you to just have a thought process about this first slide. I'm sorry, the slide is just taking its time, so probably it will, yeah. So what I'm going to talk is COVID and diabetes, preventive and management. So this is a slide, please, because the audience are majority are non-medical side. So please have a look at what it is written here. I want to believe that if patients knew what I know, they would take their medication. What I have learned is that if I felt what they feel, I did understand why they don't. So this is a wonderful statement from Lisa Rosenbaum. So it is for individual to analyze what goes through a physician when a patient doesn't take his medication. And the same thing, if you are able to understand why the patient didn't take, it's a wonderful sort of concept. So what I'm going to talk, I'm just going to give you a brief about diabetes, and then my second section will be COVID and diabetes. And the question and answer session will focus towards the black fungus or white fungus or any other fungus. So, dear audience, please look at this. This is alarming. So, parents, family members, going to be adults. So, this is a very alarming figures. So, we are now 2021. If you see the 2019 data in India, 77 million. Probably we have crossed 81 million. What is important for us to see is what happens when we go to 2045. We're going to double. But the same thing, if you look down the column in Brazil, there are 16.8 million, and by 2025 there'll be only 26 million. So we need to understand what is going wrong. Now, if you heard from Mr. Nargun, they are telling everyone in the family has diabetes. There is nothing pride about it. We need to stop this. This is the problem. And the rate we are accelerating or alarming is very, very sad to talk. It is serious concern. Everyone is happy to go fast with even their food, and nobody wants to have a look about their health, because we are seeing diabetics as early as 18, 20, 25. What is these people do not want anything to achieve in their life because their lifespan will be cut short. Family members feeding too much to their children, number one, please, we should think about that, because the alarming rate we are progressing. And we are going to be second. We are second in China. Even 2045 will be second. But what is the quality we are left with? What is that we are going to give to our youngsters, and what they are going to give to their next is the biggest concern. And see the Southeast Asia concern, 74% rise. When you look at the European, the best thing is the Australian and the American, the European data, they're not increasing much. 15% to Europe compared to 74%. What is that we are doing that we should be hit so badly? And if you look at, this is the numbers. I am seeing young diabetics coming with sugars 300, 400. Is it a joke? And these people are just entered into their job, and they haven't even started their family. If they have started, they have 2-year-old, 3-year-old kids. So it is alarming. 647 million adults in diabetes worldwide in 2045. And the youngsters are going to hit, because the elders, they know how to take. They are very good. They take medications. They come for follow-ups. They take every important thing. They are never a Google doctors. But the current trend is the problem with youngsters. Why are you becoming Google doctors? You can take any medication. You don't need us. Fine, no problem. But who is going to suffer? People around you are going to suffer. We should stop this, because the problem is today's talk, 1 in 2 people do not know they are diabetic. I'm not talking that 1 and 2 are diabetic. I'm talking in diabetic who are there among the crowd. 1% doesn't know he's diabetic. And what is that is led to is early deaths. 344 million people are increased risk of developing diabetes. So it could be pre-diabetes progression. We'll talk about what is pre-diabetes. And we know eventually what happens when people get diabetes. Mr. Nargun team, they know. So it causes anything in the organ. Whatever we are nice today will become unfriendly or unfavorable or unacceptable. So we learned that. So diabetes is going to be a baggage. It's not going to stay here. It is progressive and it is very aggressive. I've used the word here, and it can cause problems to kidneys, heart, brain, your feet where you walk around. And the important is the bad symptoms that we go through and the complications. And the kidneys, we are talking about the nerves, the painful nerves people will come with. This is the background. What is the need of the hour? We know people are slim, people are well-built, people are extremely abnormally built. The BMI we are talking about, Everyone knows corporate hospitals, they come youngsters who are in very high good jobs. They come, they check their BMI alarming, they come up, they are very in a low mood. So what is this happening? The obesity is also another, is adjacent to diabetes. So let us be a little ambitious. The pharma industry are really being ambitious. They are talking about 90, 90, 90. What is this? So 98% at least if the population is detected, we can do something about that. So if 90% of them are, we treat, and if great, if 90% if we control them, it's brilliant. Sadly, we are not even close to that. And age, gender, youngsters, if you look at the blue, 1990, where we were, and the 2016, the red data, for the men especially, is creeping up. And women are no better. They are also catching up. So it is important that we address this. How do we do that? And sadly, our genetics and lifestyle and the our nature of our stress we are going through is not helping. This is the data from UK. Indians in UK or here, they are diagnosed young. That means our lifespan is cut short. We have obesity. Sadly, is we have thin limbs and more adiposity, central obesity. The visceral obesity, the central means viscera. Viscera means your liver, your kidney, fat around these organs are dangerous. But someone in West is obese. You may see, oh, what is this we're talking about? The West are obese, but their subcutaneous fat is high. That means below the skin, whatever the fat is, that is better than the fat around your organs. They're going to kill us early. So this is what causes resistance. That means if I have to give you one tablet, the West will need only 1/4 of the tablet. Or if I have to give you 10 units insulin, the West will need 2 or 3 units. And what it is your early diagnosis less than 10 years, your BMI is higher, your arm circumference, which we surrogately link it with the abdominal fat, and the waist hip ratio. That means you come to the clinic, we do an abdominal circumference, which is the waist circumference in addition to your blood pressure and weight. And it's sometimes it's unpleasant, but it is fact that we marker, these are markers. And if you look at the fat distribution, everything is abnormal. So what is the natural history of diabetes? I don't know how many of the youngsters have checked their blood sugars. If you go and check the blood sugar, and please don't be alarmed if you have pre-diabetes. What is pre-diabetes? That means you are well, you are enjoying your life, no problem. But when someone checks your blood sugar, or routinely you check your corporate this thing, or companies are setting, we are seeing pre-diabetes early. That means anybody fasting sugars having less than 126 is pre-diabetes. And the number crosses 127, you are diabetic, you are done. You have to inform your employers, you have to change your insurance, you have to, everything changes for you. So you need to prevent that happening so that you don't progress to diabetes and your life is going to change. So before that hits, we need to hit this condition much earlier. So this one clearly says pre-diabetes is pre. That means it is warning you. You can reverse here. This is time where to reverse. Because once you enter into diabetes, which is already progressed, you have lost almost 50% of the important cells which produce the insulin or the glucose reducing the chemical hormone. You have lost 50%. And that is going to hit your blood vessels because it can cause problems over initially fatty, you see, cholesterol builds up, blood pressure comes, your weight increases, then your organs like the heart attack, the brain attack, foot attack, any attacks. What we talk in layman terms. That means diabetes is bad. Pre-diabetes is diabetes munche barodu, pre-diabetes anta heltivi. Diabetes bandre eldrigu gottu, but everyone is happy to know it and they're not able to control it. Because data enandre, once you get diabetes, only 22% or 24% even worldwide are not able to give the good control. That means if you have in your home one family member, you should have strict control. It is not there, only 22% worldwide. And in India, almost around 20% or even lesser. So this is straightforward. Diabetes, because of the production is affected, or we are fat. When we are fat, it affects the anti to insulin. So that means your progression, diabetes, either after food or before food, then you become worsened, or both the diabetes gets worsened. This is a brilliant chart. You need to look at only two things here. What is coming down, what is going up. Okay. Okay. We want our bank balance to go up, isn't it? We want our expenditure to come down. Same thing happens here. So if you look at the blue diagram, which is the blue arrow which is going down, that means it is going up. What is going up? Sugars are going up. So what is coming down? Your money is coming down. That means your insulin, your beta cell, the production factory is coming down. There are no much of production happening, so your sugars are going up. So you will develop diabetes. Eventually, the complications will be mild. Eventually, then your progress. Why do we say that diabetes needs to be addressed early, treated early, so that you are able to enjoy your life for a longer time without complications? Because this is what it is, the golden period, what we call the glycemic legacy. That means if you have read well, if you have worked hard, you will have a luxury. If you have not done this, you are not going to be sitting in luxury. The same thing, diabetes behaves exactly same. Today you are diabetic, you look after me, and I'm going to look after you for rest of the life. If you don't, you see this. So the bottom one is a good patient, patient A, he had a good control and he's enjoying his life. But sadly, look at the patient B, he had good control, eventually he gave off for many reasons. So he went into the wrong direction, he had one of the major hit, it could be a stroke, heart attack or anything else. So this is a very important area which we talk about. Even my audience, like good doctors, need to understand this, and we are educating at every opportunity so that that comes down. This is the greatest trial, which is landmark trial we called in the UK, which has been happening since 1990s, and it's now gone past the post trial. What it is telling is what I told you exactly in the previous slide: good control, and you will have very good benefits. That means an eye problem, blindness problem, or the foot problem where you have an amputation, or the heart attack, or the kidney failure will all come down. That means that you need to be having good control. So what is our guidelines are telling us is treat early, use a medication which is friendly to the patient. Initially, it may be tablet, patient choice, so the cost is reduced. At the same time, we get the quality, the value for money is gained, so that the safety and the complications and the outcome is good. So this is a simple thing. What we doctors will look at is we look at the patient as a whole wheel. We don't just treat your numbers. We need to look at what is the problem. Are you a fit man? Are you a busy man? Are you a sedentary man? Many things we look into it, and we advise you to do some exercise and medications eventually. Okay. So this is one of the important study called START study. So what it is looking at, it is very important for today's audience, is the amount of diet, what are we consuming? So this is a study done all over India, 5 zones, and they looked at the carbohydrate, protein and fat intake. Sadly, 64 to 70 or 66% of us are consuming more carbohydrates. That means what is the recommended carbohydrate diet is 52 to 55. So we are eating more, which is causing diabetes. So it is important you cut down on carbohydrates. I am not brainer to tell what carbohydrates comes in your diet. So it is your rice, isn't it? So rice, wheat, ragi, johar, everything is carbohydrate, but the amount of release is important for us. We don't want fast absorption, like white rice is extremely shoots your sugars up. So if you look at it, the balance is important. You eat the carbohydrate, protein and the fat in a balanced fashion, thereby there will be reduction in your diabetes risk. So it's the same thing what I'm talking about. The energy comes through carbohydrates, that needs to be reduced. And the elderly diabetics, as we learned from our first introduction, clearly we said penformin data, many are still alive because they looked after their diabetes. We now clearly say 30% of patients more than 65 are diabetic, definitely. And now things are changing. I'm probably need to rephrase this, saying that 30% more than 55 will have probably getting into diabetic zone. And that is the problem for diabetes. Your blood pressure, your cholesterol, weight, other problems, other organ failures, all sets in. So age is important because it's not just a number. It may be number for many things, like you do your activities, academic, social service, no problem. Age is not a number there. But in diabetes or the medicine, age is not a number. It is fact. The body changes. ವಯಸ್ಸಾಗ್ಬಿಟ್ರು ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಒಂದು ಮೂಲೆನಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಕಡೆ ಕುತ್ಕೋಬಾರ್ದ, ಯಾಕೆ ಇವರೆಲ್ಲ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಇಟ್ಸ್ ನಾಟ್. ದೇ ವಾಂಟ್ ಟು ಇಂಪ್ರೂವ್, ಬಟ್ ಸ್ಯಾಡ್ಲಿ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ನಾಟ್, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ the fat is changing. Increased fat, the muscle is losing. So it all acts. The production to the insulin, which reduces your glucose, is affected. The production of glucose is also affected. People may have low sugars for small dose. So many things are happening in the old age. So our challenge becomes control the diet, control the sugars with medication, lifestyle, and a regimen which is simple to our Indian people. Because why? Because the cost is enormous. It doesn't come cheaper. The amount of money spent for the diabetes or the health is robust. A person of middle-aged family who earns around some significant amount, 5 to 20% is spending on his health and his medication. That needs to come down, because it is going to be a big thing on the pocket. It's not insurance these days, it's coming pocket. Future may give you insurance, outpatient medication may open up, right? What happens in the West, but it is, as of now, it is coming through the individual pocket. For a physician, doctor, or even a surgeon, for us, your money is important for us, because we want you to have a long duration of good control, quality of life with your diabetes, so that you don't spend too much. For example, if people spend on their medications, the chances of coming to hospital is less. Once you come to the hospital, you just imagine what could be the cost. So doctors, we think everything when the patient comes, and we look at the cost where it is coming from. If you look at the cost of complications, hospitalization, 50%. But if you look at the consultation, lab test, anti-diabetic, it is lesser. And the transportation and everything, it is around 50%. 1 minute, Prashant. I'm really sorry. It is emergency. 4:30. Okay, so this is one. Sorry. So eventually, our goal is to prevent the micro complications, means affecting the eyes, the kidneys, and the nerves. So reducing the sugar control, especially after we eat, it gets very difficult to control. There's a saying, and it is proved. Once we are diabetic, it's the fasting sugar. That means when you wake up in the morning, it's high. But as the diabetes improves with treatment, the fasting improves. But the problem becomes after what we eat, and especially our Indian diet is so rich and so sort of familiar and famous, that it's very hard to contain on a diet, and you tend to increase your post meal. This is what we are looking at. From right to left, if you are going, it's bad, and thereby your complications are increasing. And also, if you look at uncontrolled diabetes, means early tablets will come down and you will be going into more of insulin mode. So this is just a wheel I'm trying to show. What happens when high sugars? It's going to affect your blood vessels, the heart, the kidneys, and therefore the heart loses its function, heart failure, and the end stage sort of death comes through. So we have to prevent. Our role is to prevent onto the extreme left-hand side, to prevent it going even to the kidneys, so that the heart is protected. Now that opens to my second portion of the COVID-19 diabetes talk. Now this is, I think the audience must have really understand the flavor of diabetes, what is going through, where we are. And if you look at this extreme transformation into diabetes, say for example, two things. One, diabetes well controlled, somebody who has got no diabetes, or somebody who is uncontrolled, and somebody who has got no diabetes. So he gets a COVID. What happens? We'll go through that. I think the December 19 changed the world, isn't it? And that means we learned a lot of lessons. It gives a window of opportunity to learn new things about COVID and diabetes. And the saddest thing is, many people who did not know they were diabetic, they are becoming diabetics because they didn't have check. COVID has given an opportunity. I would rephrase that, but probably that is the way we think. The second thing, somebody who's diabetes who's uncontrolled, or controlled who becomes really uncontrolled because of the COVID itself. And finally, the third one is, we doctors, we have to control the medications, the disease. We use medications which will control the disease, and the most common is the steroids, which is causing diabetes, in addition to the what is leading to the black fungus, which we can take later. So whatever it is important for us to ensure we give education to the patients to control the sugars. Monitoring is important. Achieving good control is important. Good care and whether inpatient or outpatient is very, very important. And this opens up the global pandemics. That means all sectors are affected. It's not only the public, the family members, the private sectors. The healthcare has taken a real hit. We are asked to do things which we were not supposed to previously. Like me and Dr. Prashant Reddy, we were supposed to be just doing our specialty or super specialty service. But now suddenly I may have to change. I need to start doing my general work. So things we are not familiar with, we are forced to. So this has got a huge impact on across the sector of medical profession. And the hardest hit are the intensivists, the respiratory, general physicians, and name it. So overall, some health sector are significantly affected, and individuals with diabetes are the highest. We have seen early affection, their progression or their behavior with COVID is different, and the mortality, the deaths are very high, and the outcome is also different. And if you know, this is the data coming from the West and the us, the diabetes hospitalization 15 to 20%, and somebody becoming comorbid, that means the complication risk 22%, survivors in general wards 52% in intensive care. That means once you go into intensive high dependency, you must have heard about CCU care or ICU intensive care, the prognosis is different, the outcome is different. Many people have seen their next of kin in the mortuary or wherever one would not wish to. So this is the irony and the saddest part. And the study also clearly says around 16% of the patients are diabetic and they were hospitalized. So this is a serious concern when you get into diabetes and COVID. Whatever we do, the challenge is enormous on us. The medications we are using at extreme high doses, and insulin is safest. We are using at, I use this word, industrial doses. That means the doses which not many doctors are even familiar with, and you would not even expect this much to be used. And which means some of the medications somebody is on diabetic can become may not be suitable because of their condition. They may be unwell. So these are the important. Now COVID opens up diabetes relation enormous. So what I was already telling is, someone who is diabetic, controlled or uncontrolled, number one, and somebody who is new diabetes, who is unknown, or someone who has diabetes because of COVID illness, we learn how it is. Third one is just people who are well, who had a checks, coming to hospital, we give them medication like steroid going diabetes. This is important to understand. This is important because when we treat you as a patient, inpatient is important. When you go home, it has become really important. I can't give you the dose what I give to the diabetic patients because the outcome is totally different. This is an important paper called NEJM, which clearly tells COVID may trigger new diabetes. So what does it mean? We have been hearing about cytokine storm in the newspapers. All the audience are used to. That means COVID has exposed diabetes, and diabetes and COVID association is because like that, the COVID can worsen the diabetes, or the other hand, diabetes can worsen the COVID. Both ways, the outcome is not good. So it's important that we tackle this early. And the epidemiology, where we got the condition from Wuhan, they did trial, whether it's normal illness or the pneumonia or the chest infection. You see, look at the comorbidity, the diabetes is almost 10 to 20% of the population, which means you are diabetic, your immune system is compromised, you are at high risk for not only COVID, dear audience, it is for anything else. And the elderly, you know, I showed you why the elderly, because of their makeup is physiology, what we call their the resistance or the aging is the one which catches up, and they'll have premature sort of illness. And also, you know, elderly, they take around 5 to 8 or 8 to 10 or 10 to 15 medication, what we medically call polypharmacy. Each one has its own side effects that can cause problems. Age-old people, we need to understand, they may have memory issues, they have urinary problems, they have injuries to fall. They are poor people, they are even scared to even walk because they may fall. So we need to stand back and understand what is going through and help them and give them the opportunity so that they fight the infection. And they also have other illness to go with the heart, the kidney, and the other problems. So the immune system is really compromised, and this high sugars will not add anything good to them. So it is important for family to look after them well. It's important to prevent them from COVID, and the important for the medication, the physicians or the doctors to give them the right dose. Why I touched upon family here? Because youngsters, we are exposed and we are going home, and we might be even giving the old people's the chance of acquiring an infection. So that is the importance of youngsters' role is to ensure that you don't go close to them, or ensure there's a barrier, and thereby you're checking on them from a distance. At the same time, you are ensuring that they are not missing you. So many things we can do so that they don't have this infection, because once it gets in, the outcome can be anything. So it is important for us to also educate them on the low sugars, and this is important, the 6 days rules. When a diabetic patient comes, we always talk about low sugars, because once the low sugar happens, the outcome is again different. They may need hospitalization, and in current COVID situation, it is not a good sort of thing to happen. And importance is about other influenza vaccine. This is a talk I gave to the audience, and they did ask me, sir, I'm taking flu jabs annually, pneumonia jabs 5 yearly, should I take? So the message is clear. When you are not well, do not take any vaccine. When you are well, and there's a gap between the COVID and the influenza of 2 months or 3 months, you're more than you're well to take, because COVID covers only the COVID infection, the influenza, they cover the different sort of roles. Activities. So the lifestyle is very clear. In my talk, I told you the same thing. The carbohydrates we need to reduce, and important is to elderly to ensure they have a bedtime snacks, because they may go low. Better to keep a little sugars high in the morning so that they don't fall and have a problem. So it is important what we give advice to. And also the physical activity. Some doctor had me ask me a question: what do we do exercise when we do in this current situation? And I just told them, shared one thing, that 1 BHK room, if someone is having, and they have a job and a family, small family, they can't go out and they want to do exercise, they can do on the spot jumping, they can do small aerobics, whatever possible, plata or dance, whichever. And if there are opportunity or anything is there, then they can think about cycling or treadmill. And also you can do small weights, muscle strengthening, which will help your insulin resistance to come down. So diabetes management is another thing. I don't want to go much detail here, because it catches so much of morbidity and the infection risk is high. We give an important consideration to their overall view. Suppose we think about someone diabetes who is obese or overweight, it is a baggage to them, because the outcome is poor. Hospitalization, we have seen intensive care unit, because the body is BMI, what we call, is an important determinant of your lung volume, the breathing mechanics, and the oxygenation. So if someone is lean, they get better oxygenation, better chances of them, less chances of them to go into a ventilator, higher chance of them coming out, which is sadly not the same with the obese. So it is important we control the body weight with lifestyle, and also important medications we use. And we also know that the glucose control is important. When they're in the hospital, we give extremely meticulous care to bring down the sugars, because of the concern of the progression of diabetes, of the condition itself, and the black fungus, what is hot, which is going on as today. So what is important for you, audience here, it is, we have been hit very hard from the media, from the newspapers, from all corners of the society, that the message is loud and clear: the isolation, the masking, and also the your vaccination and the hand washing. All this. So it is important that you do a good job from your end, and the overall sort of 360 degrees diabetes management is what we give. We address not only the family, the patient, but also the family and also people who live around them, so that the outcome is better. So it's a small snapshot. What is important is to learn about modifiable, non-modifiable. Sadly, the non-modifiable is your genetics, your already the family history, our ethnicity, and our age, and the pregnancy. We can't protect that. We can't modify them, but definitely you can improve your physical activity activity, your weight, your diet, your smoke, your other social habits needs to be looked into, control of blood pressure. This is very, very important. Nowadays, new technologies have come to improve the sugar management in the community. You have a flash meter which will record your sugars for 14 days. That means less exposure to lab, less exposure to COVID, and thereby your doctors can highlight you on this flash continuous glucose monitoring machine. And also, this is the checklist we give for patients, for diabetic patients, not only diabetes, we advise them, because nowadays online consultations are happening. Your doctors will not be able to address many things like blood pressure, the weight, and a few other dynamics, where you can only visualize, we can learn what your story you say, but then we can alter the medications, but we don't have. But if things are out of control or somebody is unwell, video consultation may not be. So just do's and don'ts. Please avoid anything which is bad, like smoking, your socialization, or your physical activities which is less. Those are all you need to avoid. You need to improve. And anything which is good, you need to, like in the example I've given is the vaccination. And not only your diabetes, you need to improve your blood pressure, your lipids, your weight. It's a complete package, so that the COVID and diabetes needs and is managed meticulously. So what we do is we advise you people that sugar before meals it should be 140 and after meals should be less than 180. If this happens, then your medications needs to be operated. Initially, we give medications, and if the numbers cross, then we'll have to give them insulin, because insulin controls the sugars better than the tablets. Thereby, the inflammatory or cytokine storm comes down, and thereby chance of progression is reduced. Then hyperglycemia, again the same thing. I'm talking about the lifestyle, the medications, keeping your blood sugars under check, and having a routine sort of whatever possible checks which are advised. If not, you are able to manage in the last year and a half. As soon as the COVID environment or lockdown improves, it may be a gradual process that you get these checked, because I am concerned that there are many people who are not having good control, or many people who are worried to come out. When they start coming out, we're going to see a bubble which is going to be very difficult for us to manage. So this is the same thing what I'm talking about. Few of the medications, your doctors will be the best person who will be able to advise what to take, what not to take. If you're unwell, please seek their attention early than later. So alternative medications, I do not want to go there, because when I have not prescribed someone, I will be not the best person to advise on that. So I don't do that. So whatever it is, this slide tells me how do you manage an outpatient, which is for you, and how do I do it as an inpatient, and what is my targets or the aims, what I keep is very clear, because if they cross the targets, the outcome is always poor. So I most importantly ensure that the targets are met. And also this is the important slide for the medications, how it works. So it revolves around the whole body. Like example, for the brain, your kidneys, your pancreas, or your muscle, your fat, liver, name it. And medications are now designed to address this problem. So your doctors again will be able to, and if you're not able to, we'll have to give you insulin. Just in a snapshot of this, what happens to a healthy person, as soon as you eat, your insulin levels hits high, controls the sugars very well. And look at the right hand side. If you are a diabetic, sadly, your insulin is never going to go up. You're going to high sugars, and you're going to have complications early. So this is what we do when you eat the breakfast, lunch, or dinner. In a healthy person, it's always upward, but in a diabetic, it's always downward. And the same thing, the various insulins we use, there's a graph. What is the important of benefiting of the initiation of insulin early is the deaths come down, and the complications also come down just by 1% reduction of your HbA1c. So by doing it, we need to ensure that as doctors to do it safely. Otherwise, we're going to get in the flip side of the coin, which is the low sugars. We don't want patients to come to hospital in these difficult times with the low sugars, because of the cost involved, the outcome involved, hospitalization, the ER visits, the ambulance, the socially, lot of lost time is lost. And we follow this algorithm, which is a 2021 based, what is safe, what is good for you, tailored to each individual. This is the algorithm which all doctors are familiar. So the key points, dear audience, you've been very patient with me for the last 15-20 minutes, is pre-diabetes is one which is alarming, need to be addressed. So if you allow that to progress, the acceleration is quicker and diabetes become very difficult and it has to be meticulously managed. And it sometimes can be challenged non-COVID. And if you have a COVID, the management is totally different and challenging. And we need to have a comprehensive approach, which means working with you, working with the patient, working with us. Together, we can achieve a better outcome in diabetes management. So I think with that, I'll leave it I'll come to my end of my talk. I'll hand over it to Dr. Prashant Reddy and their team, and we can just go into the question and answer session. Sorry, it was a lengthy talk, and I covered now. We are going to more than happy to take any questions from the audience. Thank you one and all for your patient hearing.
Thank you, Dr.
Hello.
Srinath. That was a very detailed discussion, and I think all the audience have got their basics wherein they understood what it takes to be a diabetic and what, as a doctor, we face for the patients if they're following the regime, particularly exercising, and also what is their input if they're eating correct in a balanced diet, as you mentioned. We Indians are tending towards high carbohydrate intake rather than a balanced diet. So that is what is leading to multiple issues. So that's something which you have done in a very detailed format, and thank you for that. And now let's open up the mic to others, such that even whoever are the participants can ask their questions, and maybe Dr. Srinath can answer them one by one.
Yeah, good evening, doctor.
Yeah.
Suresh here. Am I
Yeah.
audible?
Yeah,
Yes,
very
you
good.
are.
Oh, very good. See, I have a small question. This is regarding corticosteroid. If taken for a longer period of time, does it lead to diabetes?
Yeah, very clinical kind of question. This is steroids taken at any point of time can be diabetic, can cause to diabetes. Say, for example, if you give it to person A for a diabetes, just one tablet can shoot your sugars. Or if you're giving it to another person B, it will not even touch anything, even with the highest dose. So what I'm trying to tell is, our genetics are made up in such a way we are insulin sensitive or resistant. Now, if I give you a small dose of tablet, not many of my COVID diabetic patients will all become very high sugars. But significant proportion are there, even smallest dose with the shortest duration can raise sugars. So there is no duration or a dose that can raise the sugars. It has to be individualized, it should be monitored and then taken together. Collectively, it should be looked into.
Okay, but my simple question is, does it, when it is given to a non-diabetic patient, person, does it increase the sugar level, and does he become diabetic patient?
Yes, if you have carefully listened to my talk, Suresh sir, with all respect,
Sure.
the third outcome, what I had mentioned about COVID and diabetes, is the relation of steroids to diabetes.
Okay.
Now, why does steroid cause diabetes? To one individual and not to the other individual. That is your genetics. But let us concentrate on why steroid becomes diabetes. Steroid is let us look at the glucose, why it should go high. The insulin, which is like a key. Once the key is opened, the key is opened, the lock tends to open. That means you're releasing the insulin to get into your cells. Thereby, glucose is controlled across your body. Now, what happens in steroids is they cause resistance to opening this key. In lame way, I'm trying to explain it to the lame because audience are very this thing. So you will not be, even though you open the lock, the key is not being opened. The lock is not open, sorry. So the insulin is produced more and more, but it is not reaching the person.
Okay.
So the funds are released from the government, but it is not reaching the poor. Example I'm telling.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Sure, sir.
Dr. Srinath,
Yeah.
yeah, my specific question is the younger population are not below 18 years are not yet vaccinated, and some of them have undergone COVID already. Should they be now and recovered? Should they be now be worried of diabetic, or what is your suggestion towards them?
So we are talking about people who are less than 18 have developed COVID infection. Is that correct?
Yes, and recovered. Should they be worried about diabetes now?
No. See, two things. Age COVID before 18, your vaccination will be after they achieve 18 and 3 months after their infection. That is one part. Now, COVID can also cause diabetes. How? Because COVID can affect your pancreas, which is the organ which produces the insulin. But the chances are slim. They don't do that. We don't see diabetes coming from COVID itself, causing the mainly, like example, the COVID affecting the pancreatic cells directly is less. It is known. So the youngsters do not need to be worried about getting diabetes. But if you have a risk for family history, genetic history is there, and if you are symptomatic, you should check. If they are less than 18, if they are able to have the normal lifestyle, their body sort of parameters, weight and their nutrition are going in the right direction, we don't unnecessarily go and check. We do a random checks, and if it's stable, or if the parents are the concerned, they bring the child to the respective doctors, and that can be screened. So it is not an area that I'll be really worried about. It will be individualized for the patients, youngsters, and their family. The youngsters gets picked up very quickly. As soon as we get this adolescent progressing into the adults, when we all think that we are mature, that is when things set in. When we are supposed to do something, we don't do. So if you are under someone's control or obligation, that things to get fulfilled better.
Thank you, sir. And to follow it up, what are the symptoms they should be looking out for after having COVID in children? Because most of the population who are right now are in the rural areas, and they do not have facilities where they can go get themselves tested for diabetes. So what do you suggest they look out for these parameters and then take a call upon that?
The important is, are they symptomatic or not symptomatic? What I mean by symptomatic means someone who has got increased thirst, increased urination, losing their weight, someone looking at them, getting frequent infection. These people needs to be checking their sugars or whatever. But if someone who is well, who are progressing to diabetes, they are the dangerous cohort. So we can't say do much for them. They may come back later on with a hard hit. Sugars may be very high. But if someone who is young and who is symptomatic, or someone who's monitoring, they see that there's a decline in their health. The weight comes down significantly. That is one of the most important marker.
Thank you very
Next
much.
question for Kuldeep.
Hello, sir. I'm Kuldeep. Sir, I'm Bangalore 2017 pass out. My age is 32 years. So some 1.5 years back, I was detected with diabetes. My HbA1c was 10%. After a medication of 3 months with glimepiride and metamorphin, I reduced my weight also about 15 to 17 kg. And for last 1 year, I'm able to control my HbA1c in about 5.7, 5.8% without any medication. Even my normal sugar is also normal, my pre-fasting and post-fasting. So what should I do in future? When I'm not taking any medication, I'm controlling my diet and controlling my weight, sir. What should I do now?
Yes, you had a HbA1c of 10.7 at one point of time. Were you unwell that time? Did you have an infection or anything?
Nothing, sir.
Okay. So you had, how long was the diabetes, 10.7?
Sir, it was detected in September 2019, sir, before COVID.
So that means it was COVID related diabetes. Okay, which means it would be stress related diabetes and you are normalized. That means if you become unwell for another reasons, there is a chance that your sugars will go up. This is called stress diabetes. Stress diabetes, pre-diabetes are always a warning signs that in future your diabetes is risk is high. So you need to ensure with lifestyle, your diabetes, your diet and your lifestyle needs to be monitored. And if you stay healthy for when you are having routine checks, it's fine. It's just when you become unwell, we do not know. So I would and continue your lifestyle advice and keep a close watch on your sugars and your symptoms.
Sir, I have small questions. I have been reading a lot of journals. They say that if I lose my weight, the diabetes can be reversed. So in my case, is that a case, or I am still prone to diabetes in future if I don't control my lifestyle?
See, if you gain weight, you're going to improve. Definitely, your numbers will go up, isn't it? That is what you are talking about, insulin resistance. The bigger we are, the more hard the organs have to perform. The fat which is seen on the body is not seen on the organs. And pancreas, the production where you get insulin is very tiny. And fat around that, it's very hard. So if you tend to increase your weight, which is going to happen as we get old, isn't it? We learned from the dynamics what happens to when we get old, the fat distribution changes. So there is a chance that diabetes is going to come back. But if you're enjoying your good lifestyle, I don't see why it should.
Next question from Gopal. We have only 4 more minutes left, as Dr. Srinath would have to go to attending other patients. So we will be wrapping it up at 4:05.
Thank you, Doctor. Doctor, quickly, there are 2 questions. One, what is the right range for fasting PP and HbA1c? Because every lab has a different ranges being given, and it is every year it is changing also. So in your view, what is the right thing? And the second question is, I am a diabetic for almost 8-9 years because I had a chikungunya in 2010. That has flared up the diabetic, and I'm also genetically diabetic. Now the point is, before COVID, when I took the test, I had fasting of 150, 160. But during the COVID, after 14-15 days, when I took the blood test, the fasting and PP were well within the range. So is that a possibility COVID can reverse the diabetic?
Yeah, 2 questions. So first one is you're talking about the fasting range. See, anything we follow ADA, which is American Diabetes Association consensus, and the RSSDI, which is the Research for Diabetes in India Society guidelines, clearly says the fasting blood sugar should be bit less than 100. Okay, 95 better. 95 to 100 is gray area. Anything above 100, you are risking. So for safety, for general network, we tend to keep the fasting to less than 120 in elderly population only. So the numbers are very clear for us guidelines. If a diabetic patient comes to me with 110, I look at the patient, what is the concern? If it is an elderly, I'm happy. If it is a well sort of person, I want to bring it down even less than 100. So it depends upon you, how fit, how well, and how important you want to be, bring it down less than 100. So second question is, before COVID, you had 110, 160. Sorry? So before COVID, you had 100, 160, and
Venkatesh, unmute matter.
Sir, mute ಆಗಿದ್ದೀರಾ?
Mute ಆಗಿದ್ದೀರಾ, doctor? Mute ಆಗಿದ್ದೀರಾ?
oh, I'm really sorry. How long have you been muted?
No, only 2 minutes.
Sorry. The fasting sugar should be less than 100. That is one. I said many things. Sorry,
Okay.
And during the COVID,
And so PP sugar?
160. And when it progressed, when you went to develop COVID, your sugars improved. Okay. So that could be just a coincidence. I wouldn't worry.
There is
See,
an
the
echo.
other important
Can Devraj mute themselves, please?
See, the other important is when you have a very good control during COVID, it could be that there are other parameters we look at. How well is the patient? Is there any concern about the other organs which are failing? This is what we look at. So if your sugars are well controlled and you are well, no problem. When somebody who is not well controlled becomes COVID and you are having a good control, it is probably one way good. I can't explain that. But what as a consultant or from a physician perspective, what I'm looking at is when somebody had a poor control and now COVID has brought down the sugars, I'm worried about whether they're going to drop further into the dangerous area, whether the other organs are looking at. So don't worry, if your sugars are controlled and if you're well, I will keep a close watch on that.
Thank you, doctor.
Mahesh, you're next, and this will be the last question for the session.
Yeah, Prashant, few questions
Take
are
one
in
more.
the chat.
Yeah, I have one
Prashant, if
question,
you want, okay.
Yeah, I'm answering the questions in the chat. Srinath sir, you can just answer the one of Mr. Mahesh, and then we'll take the other questions and we'll answer it out separately.
Okay, these 11 questions I'll try to see.
Let me
Uh,
discuss
there
with,
are
uh,
11
Doctor for a minute,
Hello.
please.
Hello.
Okay.
Doctor,
So,
Sir.
Mr. Gopal's question, what is the fasting and postprandial control range? So fasting, I told you less than 100. Postprandial should be less than 150. For elderly, less than 180. So next question for Mr. Venkatesh. We have a dedicated question answers. Okay, sir, sure, thank you. Please raise your hand. Please bring down the cost. How to bring down? So standard blood sugar, we said. How to reduce fasting low sugars? Brilliant question. So you eat early dinner before 9 o'clock. Do not eat rice. If you are rice fashion person, go for brown rice. Quantity, quality is very important. Reduce it. Eat more salads before you take your dinner, and more of water. Don't take any juices. Do not drink any sugary drinks towards the end of your bed, thinking that that's going to be preventing you from low sugars. So if you do this, your sugars are going to be better, and if your medications, take them correctly. So rice, yes, definitely you should reminisce. Brown rice is there, red rice is there. Some recently I heard about black rice also. I heard these are all pretty good. So what these rices do is they reduce your absorption. The amount of glucose absorption will be reduced. The release into the bloodstream of glucose is at a more controlled fashion. And I think Mrs. Girija is asking, if a person having diabetes for more than 10 years, can it be reversed? Madam, I would be very grateful. If this would have happened, it would have been a wonder. It can be controlled. It can be reversibility. A lot of fashionable medications have come outside. People may take you for a ride. Please be alarmed. Diabetes cannot be reversed unless until it is something like you were on steroids for some duration, you came off, that is reversible diabetes. Something, pregnancy became diabetes, then it became normal, that is reversible. Again, all this is going to be important in future. So this is just an example I'm giving. And Mr. Nagaraj, brown sugar is better than, no, zero. No sugar, no jaggery, no honey. Next, is this small, I have small, after food, what is ideal sugar of postprandial? I said less than 140 and 160, 180. Older population, 180, 160 is for middle age who are a little bit vulnerable. Yeah, fit people less than 140. I think I've answered everything, Dr. Prashant Reddy. Anything else?
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your time. And
Sir, last question.
okay.
I am Prasad,
sir.
sir. Prasad Reddy. Sir,
Hello.
hello. Yeah.
Yes, Prasad Reddy, tell me.
Okay. Doctor, I am 65 years old, diabetic for the last 20 years, and I had COVID during December, and I was given, it was asymptomatic, and I was given the steroid tablets of 12 mg for 5 days. I don't remember the name of the drug actually. That's all. What could be the effect of that particular steroid in my rest of the life?
No. That is a short duration diabetes. COVID did good to you.
Okay.
But if you continue it, that is a different story, which I think the complications we have learnt about it. But if steroids given right time for the right cause and the right dose, duration is a very good anti-inflammatory medication.
Oh, good. Oh, okay.
Steroid sadly is misused in our community.
Hmm.
If you go to the rural part of India, if a patient comes 2-3 times, the doctor is bad. So cultural practice still exists. Steroid given, fever goes straight away. And it comes back later on, God knows what happens. But because given in a shorter duration, it is good for other reason. It's an anti-inflammatory, but long duration, it is not good. And given in the wrong indication, wrong perspective, it is very harmful.
Okay. So other thing is, I had my 2 vaccinations also, and second vaccination were around 40 days ago. And what will be the chances of getting COVID again? Or reputation of
Well,
COVID
this
in my
is
lifetime?
irrelevant for today's
Yes,
talk.
yes. I'm
So
not a
thank you,
immunologist,
Dr.
sir. I'm really,
Okay,
Dr.
I'm
Reddy
sorry.
has come to my
Okay,
rescue
okay,
here.
Thank
But
thank you, sir, for
Thank you,
today's
thank you.
session. Thanks for your time. And more than you, I have an emergency which I have to run